Welcome to the I Dream of Speaking podcast. My name is Ramona J. Smith. I am your host as well as the 2018 World Champion of Public Speaking, and I am here to help you find your voice so you can shine brighter, dream bigger, and speak louder. The I Dream of Speaking podcast is all about mastering the art of public speaking, sharing our dreams and aspirations as speakers, and living confidently so that we feel good both on and off the stage. On today's episode, I'll be discussing the sauce, the drip, the swag. Yes, the importance of confidence as a speaker or aspiring speaker. Have you ever seen a speaker get on stage and she just kills it? She dominates the stage. She radiates the stage. She lights it up. That is confidence. When you set that stage on fire like you own it. If you have never seen someone do that to a stage and you don't know what that looks like, I'll have my 2018 World Championship speech still standing in the card somewhere. You can click on that and you can go watch that and then jump right back into the podcast. That speech is one great example of confidently speaking, how to enter the stage with confidence, how to carry that confidence throughout the entire speech, and how to dominate a worldwide stage. Today's episode is all about boosting and rebuilding confidence as a speaker and why self-confidence is one of the secrets of successful speakers. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any episodes. We drop every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central. Also, give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment with your tips, suggestions, and love, of course, and share this video if you know someone who may be experiencing a lack of confidence, or maybe their confidence took a dip at a recent speaking engagement. You can share this YouTube link, or you can share this audio file on Podbean. Make sure you are sharing this podcast with people who need to enhance or boost their confidence as public speakers. Follow me on Instagram at Ramona J. Smith 1, on both Facebook and LinkedIn. I am Ramona J. Smith. Check out my website, ramonajsmith.com, and send me an email if you would like to connect via email. I speak at ramonajsmith.com. I have to give some shout outs this week because we are on week 3. We are building momentum. This is episode 3. We're remaining consistent and dedicated to ourselves and our dreams and our speaking. And it takes a village. It definitely takes a village. I want to send a special shout out to the creators of the I Dream of Speaking theme song that you hear in the intro. The voice that you hear on the intro is none other than Christian rap artist Kev P. He is from Cleveland, Ohio. Those words are so inspirational, that let me help you find your voice, and I'm a world champion, baby. I bet I can breathe that. That's all Kev. That is all Kev P. You can check him out on all musical platforms: SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music. Kev P from Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you so much for writing and performing the lyrics to that song. We also have big news regarding the beat. We have a 2.0 version of the song that's going to be dropping in the next few weeks. And it's produced by none other than the insanely talented Tara of V1 Beats. She's also out of my hometown, Cleveland, Ohio. And V1 Beats has produced beats for colossal names in the industry, from Machine Gun Kelly to Missy Elliott to Ramona J. Smith. And I'm so blessed to collaborate with both Kev P and V1 Beats. This song is a true representation of me, and both of y'all really showed up and showed out to bring this whole song together, and I just love it so much. Let me help you find your voice. I love it. I can't wait till y'all hear the produced by V1 Beats version. Next, I have to send a huge shout out to the team at Tact 22 Productions. Their team produces and edits this podcast each week and makes sure all my equipment is fully functional and up to date. Y'all know I am the world champion of public speaking, not tech. And I am so blessed to be able to have a team of great, overly talented people who know all about tech and microphones and sound and audio and video and how to mash it all together and make it look so easy. Thank you so much to Tact 22 Productions. They have been making some amazing suggestions for us to continue to grow this podcast and improve the aesthetics for everyone that is watching. Stay tuned. Those new changes are on the horizon. Next, a special shout out to my ever so amazing board of advisors for always having time to listen, encourage, and share great ideas with me. Markeith Cook, Seneca Dunmore, Glenn Walker, Larry Sapansky. Thank you all for watching, for giving me ideas and suggestions in the podcast and in business and in life. Thank you all so much for your patience and for your brilliance. And last but not least, you guys who are watching right now, thank you so much for your support. I would not have come this far without you. Thank you for the views and the comments and the shares. I appreciate it so much. To all the people who have followed me on Instagram, who follow me on Facebook, who joined the Speakers United Club from this podcast, I thank you so very much. And the majority of you have been supporting me for years. This is not our first time experiencing one another. This is not our first time growing together. So I thank you for your support on all the other projects and this one. So thank you for your support. I hope I continue to make you all very proud with the things that I'm doing. Just so grateful and so full of gratitude. I'm also grateful that I've been able to find my purpose in life. I know that my purpose is speaking. I know that my purpose is behind a microphone. That is what I was put on this earth to do. I'm a confident speaker. I've always been a confident speaker, and people who love public speaking and love getting on stage, it's not really a big challenge for us. We are ready to get in front of the camera. We're ready to get in front of the microphone or behind the microphone. We are ready to get in front of our cell phones and laptops. People who actually love speaking and have a passion to speak, we most often have an innate or natural ability to do so. We are not afraid to get on that stage. It fuels us. It motivates us. We love being the center of attention. We get motivated, amped to get on that stage. On the other hand, as we know, for some of us, getting on the stage is not enjoyable at all. Last week, we talked all about glossophobia. Last week's episode was called Speak or Die. Make sure you go check that out if you haven't already. The question then is, how does one become a more confident speaker? How do you rebuild your confidence as a speaker? Because sometimes we get on a stage and we're expecting it to be outstanding and we prepared and we know it's going to be great, but maybe we felt like we bombed. Maybe we've had negative speaking experiences and want to get back on that stage and shine again. And how do you boost your confidence as a speaker? Some of us already feel very confident in our speaking abilities, but we want to go even further. And we want to increase our confidence from 100 to maybe 110. Let's start with how to become a more confident speaker. Any speaker that has lots of experience on stage has his or her own stories and personal tips and suggested best practices for becoming a more confident speaker. In the future, on the I Dream of Speaking podcast, we are going to have some phenomenal guests, more world champions, more public speakers come on and share their public speaking tips with us and how to be more confident. I'm excited about that. I can't wait. Personally, I have 3 tips. Y'all know I like to keep it simple. My hair is not wanting to cooperate today, and that's okay. We love our hair because hair is important. We'll talk about that later. We have just 3 simple tips here that we're going to share today. Those simple tips are knowing your content, and these are tips to become a more confident speaker. Knowing your content, preparation, and being mindful of how you look, your personal style. Those are 3 simple tips. I like to keep it simple. I like to keep it easy. I don't want people to listen to this and public speaking is already intimidating enough. Let's not add to the fire. Let us make it simple so that anybody can do and learn and understand how to become a more confident speaker. Know your content, prepare in advance, and be mindful of how you look. What is your personal style? Let's jump right into knowing your content. What does that even mean? That means knowing what you're talking about. Maybe not being an expert, maybe not having a PhD in the field, maybe not even being a master, but having some type of passion, some type of understanding, some type of solid life experience or solid research about what you're speaking about. For example, I teach about public speaking. I teach about confidence and motivation and inspiration and how to overcome obstacles and become resilient. That's wonderful. However, I would not accept a speaking engagement at a national chemistry convention unless they say, Ramona, we want you to come in here and strictly inspire and motivate. You don't have to say anything about chemistry. You don't have to say anything about formulas. We just want to motivate the team. That's completely different. Something that new speakers often do is they will speak anywhere. They don't care where it is, what it is. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You don't want to have to spend so much time researching data, statistics, and facts that your speech now sounds like a report. You still want it to be genuine and authentic. So know your content and stay in your lane as far as your area of expertise, as far as the things that you could talk about for, let's just say 15 minutes straight. If I asked you to talk about something for 15 minutes straight, what would that be? Having the knowledge, the experience, and the research about what you're going to talk about, and not just taking speaking engagements because you want to speak, but actually because you know what you're going to be talking about and you're familiar with what they're asking you to speak on. So know your content and stay in your lane as far as things that you are not even an expert, we won't say an expert, things that you are very comfortable and very passionate about speaking about. Next, preparation. Preparation. Even if you have all the experience in the world and you've done a lot of research, you still should never go on stage without proper preparation and organizing your thoughts. Now, I hear someone saying, well, Ramona, what if somebody just asked me to get on stage? That's completely different. If you are sitting in an audience and they randomly call on you to come and say a few words and you had no idea that they were going to do that, okay, get up on stage, do your best. But if you have more than a day, if you have more than a week, if you have more than a month to prepare for your speech, you absolutely should. What do I mean by prepare? You don't have to write the speech out verbatim. You don't have to write the speech out verbatim at all. It does not have to be word for word. That's how I like to do it. That's my personal preference, but you don't have to. But you want to have some type of structure, some type of outline, some type of bullet points so that the things that you say are organized and in a timely fashion so that the audience can stay with you. A lot of times when people don't prepare, their stories are all over the place. They start here and then they end there, and the audience cannot follow that because it's not orderly. We want it to be orderly. It doesn't even have to be chronological order, but your thoughts need to be strategically placed so that your message flows. So preparation, that means organizing your thoughts. If you've ever worked with me for speech writing, then you know we use the old school outline. I still use Roman numerals. Roman numeral 1, introduction. Roman numeral 2, body. Roman numeral 3, conclusion. And then we add the meat and the fat from there. Organize your thoughts, prepare those bullet points, know what you're going to say so that your message flows and it makes sense. You also want to make sure that when you are preparing, you rehearse. Go through the entire speech, top to bottom, a few times. If you're a person that maybe you speak a lot and you don't have to practice over and over, or it's not a high stakes situation, it's not a competitive speech, at least go over that speech 3 times before you give it. You can feel the way it's flowing. You maybe want to add stories, or you want to You may want to add props or something like that. You can play with it. You can get a feel of it instead of getting up there and giving the speech. Would it be cold turkey? It probably wouldn't be giving a speech cold turkey, but giving a speech for the first time and you don't even know what it feels like, or you don't even know what it sounds like. Lack of preparation equals going overtime or going under time. Lack of preparation equals massive amounts of filler words. And lack of preparation makes you not look like a professional speaker. So what does preparation entail? Organizing your thoughts and rehearsing that speech, maybe even getting some feedback from other speakers, family members, or friends. Do not get on that Do not get on that stage and speak unless you have done some type of preparation. And lastly, after you know your content, you have prepared, let's talk about what you are going to wear. Style is so important as people who are going to be on camera or in public. Think about some of your favorite public figures. Every time they go out, they look a certain way. Even from the people on local television stations, they have to look a certain way. You want to be appealing, visually appealing to people who are going to be staring at you for the next 30, 45 minutes or an hour. Many speakers underestimate the importance of their appearance, their style, and their wardrobe. The way they look before they get on stage is neglected. When I speak to clients about style, especially men, they often say, well, why do I have to wear a suit, or why do I have to get dressed up? Steve Jobs and Gary Vee, they don't dress up. Okay, true. And my response is usually something like, well, the next time you're the CEO of Apple, you can wear whatever you want. The next time you're a household name like Gary Vee, you can not only wear what you want, but you can drop the F-bomb 52 times if you want to. But most of us speakers are not household names just yet. So we need to put more energy and effort into what we wear when we get on that stage. People are going to judge you by how you look. They are going to judge you by how you look. Most people are not going to research you before you get on stage. Most people are not going to look up your website. They're not going to look at your videos. Now, some might, but the majority are going to want to see you in person. They've anticipated this event. They're going to wait until you get there to see what you can do. Before you get on that stage, they are looking at you from head to toe to see what you look like, because before you speak a word, the audience's perception of you is already forming. 54% of people's overall perception of you is based on what they see. So over half of what they already think about you is formed before you even give this phenomenal speech. What do you want their first impression to be? We all know that the first impression is what? The lasting impression. What do you want that first impression to be? This is very important to me as of lately. You'll notice I've been wearing red a lot. When I show up to speak, I wear red. I heard something on the R&B Money podcast hosted by Tank and Jay Valentine. They said that if no one can dress up like you for Halloween, you are not a star. If nobody can dress up like you for Halloween, you are not a star. That's when I made the choice to wear red from then on. Anytime I'm speaking, I'm wearing red. Red and black are my brand colors, like the ladybug. I'm the ladybug speaker. Most ladybugs we see are going to be black and red. Those are my brand colors. I like red versus black because red is vibrant and is sexy. It's going to capture the eye. Let me ask you this. What's your color? As a speaker, what is your color? What is your style as a speaker? What does your wardrobe look like? Better question. How would the kids in your neighborhood look if they dressed up like you for Halloween this year? If you let 15 kids in your neighborhood watch maybe 3 of your speeches, just not the whole thing, maybe about 2 or 3 minutes, and they all watched your speech and their assignment was to dress up like you for Halloween, what would they wear? For me, I know they would instantly wear red. If they were a girl, they would probably put on some red lipstick. If they wanted to even take it up a notch, they would have a microphone. But they would definitely be wearing red because that is my color. What is your style as a speaker? What is your color as a speaker? We must prioritize style as public and professional speakers. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a color. It can be just the whole outfit. Are you a person that is going to wear a tie every time, or a different color tie, or a different hat guy? I remember there was Hawaiian shirt guy. I actually work with a client, her name is Shauna, and her color just happens to be yellow. So she wears yellow, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a color. Just think about your wardrobe and your style as a public speaker and as a professional speaker. In addition to our clothing, we want to make sure our hair is nice and neat. That's why y'all keep seeing me fix my hair. I know something is going on in the back. One day I'm gonna say, stylist. Oh, stylist. But until that day, I have to fix it myself. But making sure our hair is nice and neat, making sure our nails are clean and manicured. We're going to be shaking hands, taking pictures, making sure our shoes are clean, our smiles are bright, and our makeup is not too distracting. My formula for confidence in public speaking is knowledge plus preparation equals confidence. When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you perform well. And when you perform well, they pay you well. Knowledge plus preparation equals confidence. Style and what you're going to wear is included in that preparation. So know what you're talking about. Prepare for what you're going to say and look good while you are saying it. I guarantee it makes a massive difference in how you feel about yourself and in other people's perceptions of you. I'm going to give you an example of how style changed and elevated my confidence as a public speaker. In 2018, the first country to invite me to speak was Dubai. That was the first country to invite me to speak. At that time, I was teaching. I was teaching 10th, 11th, and 12th grade child development and human growth and development at a high school here in Texas in the Aldine ISD schools district, in Aldine ISD. And as a teacher, my wardrobe was flat shoes, so flats, slacks. Most likely they were going to be black slacks and a blouse, maybe a button up, maybe just a cute little blouse. So flats, slacks, and a blouse. When I was asked to go to Dubai, nobody handed me a manual and said, here's what you need to take and here's what you need to wear. So what did I take? Flats, slacks, and blouses. Maybe throw in a pencil skirt here and there. I go to Dubai, we are speaking, we are traveling, we are nonstop. When I tell y'all Dubai was nonstop, honey, Dubai was nonstop. I was speaking at least 4 or 6 times a day, and that's at least 4 to 6 times a day. When I tell you we were on the go so much, we had a rotating sleep schedule. While we're driving to these venues, I'm sleeping. While I'm speaking at these venues, my team is sleeping because we were on the go from sun up to sundown. One day, the sponsor who invited me over, he said he wanted to talk to me. He said, come on, let's talk. So we get in the back seat, we talk, and he says, Ramona, you're doing an amazing job. You are a phenomenal speaker. You're powerful, you're impactful, you're inspirational. We're so glad that we're spending this time with you and that you're visiting all these places. Outstanding job. He said, only thing is, you don't look like a world champion. He said, you don't look like a world champion. To some of you, that may have been offensive. Well, what does a world champion look like? What do you mean? Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm black? It was neither of those. It was the expectation and the anticipation of bringing a world champion of public speaking from the States all the way to Dubai to share her knowledge and her expertise with us. That's big. That's major. And when we have these big major expectations and the person shows up in flats, slacks, and a blouse, it's like, okay, yeah, she's great, but we kind of wanted a little bit more pizzazz and a little pizookie. I took his advice and I went home and I hired a stylist, not an expensive Hollywood stylist. She was a wonderful stylist in Dallas, Texas, had gone to fashion school, was a designer. Great person. And she helped me piece together different outfits. We didn't even spend a whole lot of money. She helped me piece together different layers of different outfits and different colors and things that I was comfortable in and things that matched my body. Actually, I think she gave me this dress. I had never had a long sleeve dress before. Shout out to Zara. But she helped me work on my wardrobe and my style. And the next country I visited, I had all these beautiful pieces. I made sure my hair was done, and I made sure I had a makeup artist in the next countries that I was going to be visiting. Best makeup artist by far internationally, Dina. Dina in Kuwait. Oh, baby. Dina got me together. Dina had me looking like a whole superstar celebrity. It was giving Beyonce. It was giving Tyra Banks. Ooh. So I made sure I put that energy and my effort into my wardrobe, and it made me feel amazing. The pictures, the videos, just the feeling of being beautiful and nice and neat and sophisticated. It made me feel like a whole new woman. And that rebuilt my confidence after he kind of broke me down, saying I look more like a teacher than a world champion. But some lessons are tougher than others. Let's talk about rebuilding confidence as speakers. When we say the word rebuild, that means that something had to be destroyed or knocked down. This can happen most often when speakers do not properly prepare for a speaking engagement or presentation. Maybe you didn't research the audience. That's a big mistake a lot of speakers make. You don't ask the question, who's in the audience? What do they like? What do they dislike? What's going on in the culture? What can I speak to? And you miss that connection and they become disengaged because you're speaking at them, not to them. I think that's what we call it. You're just speaking at them instead of speaking to their hearts and their minds and their souls. Maybe you went over time because you didn't practice your speech. Maybe the audience is having sidebar conversations. Perhaps you just have a lot of psychological noise going on. Maybe something's going on at home with your spouse, with your children. If you have a 9-to-5 with your job, maybe finances, and you just weren't able to focus on that speech like you needed to because of that psychological noise. I don't know about you, but if you've ever experienced most of the audience being on their phones, I'll address that. I will say something, but that can mess with your confidence. It's like, am I not saying anything? Are you not being moved? What's going on here? Or if you were the last speaker of the day and people start to get up and walk out as you are on stage, oh, that just breaks my heart, because as speakers, we want everybody to hear our message. And when people are leaving, it's not a good feeling, because it's like, okay, well, you didn't want to stay to hear the rest of what I had to say. That can play with our confidence. I've never experienced this, but a lot of my comedian friends have, or people in entertainment. Have you ever been booed or heckled while you were on the stage? That is so painful and so hurtful. Experiencing these things can diminish the confidence of a speaker and discourage us from speaking in the future. As speakers and entertainers, when we get on that stage, we are pouring out our hearts and thoughts. We're leaving it all on the stage. That takes a lot of vulnerability to share our stories. Also, to have an audience full of people who are not valuing your time and your presence, that can hurt. We can start to second guess ourselves and maybe even think that we're boring or bad speakers. Once we start to think that we are boring or bad speakers, this leads to the killer of joy, and that is comparison. We start to compare ourselves with other speakers. For example, maybe I should be more aggressive, like Eric Thomas, and get off the couch and be... I don't mean no harm, Eric Thomas. I think you're great, but you'll be yelling. So maybe you feel like you want to give a more aggressive approach, or maybe you feel like you want to be more like Ramona J. Smith and do the boxing thing and dance and gallivant around stage to get more attention, or even coming out doing backflips or magic tricks. We start to tell ourselves that we're not good enough as speakers, and we try to look for things that are going to make us feel like we could stand out even more. But comparison is the killer of joy. We don't want to compare ourselves to others. We want to figure out ways to rebuild our confidence within ourselves so that we can continue to be our genuine selves. So how do you bounce back from these situations that may have torn down your confidence? I have 3 things. The first thing, you're not going to like it probably. It's not the easiest thing, but it is simply to get back up and keep going. To laugh at yourself, to dust yourself off and say, hey, it wasn't the best. Hey, I messed up, but I'm going to get right back on that bike and start riding again. Perfect example of that. Y'all know the singer Genuine. Now he's had a couple of things, but the one for me was when he was dancing on stage and he was in his flow and he was dancing and he was just, you know how you get in the flow when you're really into it? He was in the flow and then missed the flow. He was in the flow and then missed the floor and fell down in between the stages by the speakers. Now he kept that microphone in his hand. Professional move. Kept the microphone in his hand and kept singing with the track. And it went viral, of course, and he laughed it off, and he continues to do performances and tours. He didn't stop. He kept going. That is a tough one. That is a tough one because our egos and our feelings, and nobody likes to be humiliated and embarrassed and be the talk of the town and potentially go viral. That's going to be the hardest way to bounce back, is to just get back out there and start again. The second thing is to speak in a safe space. Speak in a safe space. What do I mean by a safe space? Someplace like Toastmasters, a Toastmasters club. I am not sponsored by Toastmasters. I am not paid. This is not a collaboration. This is not a paid video or podcast, but Toastmasters has been wonderful for me as a speaker, and it is a great place for new speakers because they want to help you improve. They want to see you succeed. If you make a mistake, good. Let's talk about it here. Nobody's going to be recording you so you can go viral with a speech in Toastmasters. They're not waiting for your downfall. It is a safe space. So speaking in safe spaces like Toastmasters meetings and Toastmasters clubs. Another safe space is a panel. That way you're not on the stage by yourself and all eyes are on you. You're a panelist, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 other people are up there. You can pass the question. You can say, hey, skip me this time. You're in a safe space and you're supported by the other people who are on that panel with you. Another thing is a pre-recorded podcast. Nobody's in this room right now except me. If I mess up, I can stop and start over again. And if I absolutely hate it, I can scratch it and not post it. Maybe a pre-recorded podcast. Those are safe spaces. And finally, speaking virtually. Speaking virtually for a while until you get back into your comfort zone on the actual stage. Teams, Zoom, Google Meets, I don't work with any of those companies, but these are virtual platforms that we use as speakers all the time. If it gets too overwhelming, you can always stop that video, hit mute, or you can even leave the meeting when you feel like it. Plus, you're in the comfort of your own home, and that is a way for you to rebuild your confidence as a speaker, speaking virtually. So how do you bounce back from maybe an uncomfortable experience on stage? You can either get back up and try again, dust yourself off, laugh at yourself. You can start to speak in safe spaces like panels, pre-recorded podcasts, Toastmasters clubs, or you can start to maybe speak virtually for a while. Take a break from the big stage and speak virtually from the comfort of your own home. This next piece is going to be for people who are already confident. I know I'm a great speaker. I feel great. I have a couple of speaking engagements coming up. I've never had any bad experiences on stage. Cool. How do you go from 100% to 110% as a speaker? The first thing I suggest is watching other speakers for inspiration, not replication. Inspiration, not imitation. I love watching Tony Robbins. That's my guy. He's probably my favorite speaker in the world. And I love seeing his energy. I love seeing his technology, his innovation, and the people who are just so engaged. I love how he comes out with that like the power clap. It gives me ideas. It motivates me. I don't want to be just like Tony Robbins, but I love watching him speak and watching these huge events that he puts on for inspiration and for it to boost me up to say, hey, one day I'm going to be there. I also watched a lot of previous world champion of public speaking speeches when I was in the competition. I wanted to see what they were doing. I wanted to see what made them stand out from the crowd, what separated them from the other 30,000 people that year that competed. But I watched for inspiration, not replication. For inspiration, not imitation. For inspiration, not duplication. I mean, you know what? Let me stop. I was on one. So watching other speakers for inspiration. Next, speaking in front of people who already love you. finding audiences who want to hear from you, who want to listen to you, who share your passion for whatever it is that you're going to speak about. Getting in front of people who love you, going where the love is. It's very hard to get in front of a new audience and nobody knows who you are. You don't know them. You have to create that connection. You have to warm the crowd up. But if it's already people who know that when you walk through that door, they're going to get this experience and they followed you and they want to hear from you, you're going to get that love and support. Even if you mess up or make a mistake, they're going to be there to pick you up. They're going to be patient with you. They're going to be graceful with you. And you go where the love goes. They're going to support you either way. So another way for you to boost your confidence as a speaker is to continue to get that reassurance from the people who want to hear your message, from your fans, from your followers, from people who are like, I love hearing you speak and I'm going to follow you wherever you go. Finally, write down and take inventory of your wins as a speaker. That is going to boost your confidence. If you have a notebook, if you have videos, if you have some type of speaker's reel that you can go back and look at and say, wow, I remember I did do that, or I did speak there, or I did get that award for speaking, or, ooh, that was the first time I got a paid speaking engagement. Or thinking about those times when people came up to you after your speech and talked about how you motivated them and how because they heard your speech, their whole day just changed, and getting that great feedback, it boosts up your confidence as a speaker. There's no greater feeling than giving a speech and someone coming up to you and telling you that you saved their life, or that you transformed their life, or that they were going through something so horrific and what you said helped get them out of that depression, out of that funk, and then they went on to be a better version of themselves because you showed up that day and you spoke. So reminding yourself of those outstanding experiences and achievements that you've already done and accomplished as a speaker. Those are ways to boost your confidence as a speaker. Watching other speakers for inspiration, finding your tribe, finding the people who are going to give you love every time you get on that stage, and writing down and taking inventory of your wins as a speaker. Finally, another great way to boost your confidence or rebuild your confidence as a speaker is to work with a public speaking coach. Work with a public speaking coach where you can rehearse, you can practice, you can get a feel of how your speech is going to be before you get on stage. You can get that feedback. You can get that positive energy. Someone saying, oh yes, this is great, or oh yes, this is wonderful, or maybe that doesn't work. Maybe let's try something else. But anytime you want to get better at something, you need to be working with people who are already where you want to be, or who have already done the things that you want to accomplish. I am a public speaking coach, and I am not hard to reach or hard to find. If you want to work with me to develop your public speaking and confidence skills, I am ready whenever you are. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel, shoot me an email, a DM, you can call me, you can text me. Everybody has my information. I'm not that hard to find just yet. In summary, confidence is the feeling or belief, a firm trust, self-assurance, and appreciation of one's own abilities and qualities. To be a more confident speaker, know your content, prepare, and dress for success, because knowledge plus preparation equals confidence. Y'all know what time it is. My favorite time of the podcast. What that mouth do? What that mouth do? What that mouth do? As speakers, our most important tool is our voice. It's your moneymaker. It's your everything. And sometimes we take it for granted. Since we aren't singers or voiceover artists, most speakers tend to neglect properly caring for the voice. Each week on the I Dream of Speaking podcast, we will discuss one new health tip to keep your mouth and voice healthy. What that mouth do? This week's WDMD tip is to spill the tea, honey. Let's spill the tea. It comes from Katarina H. with Vocal Freedom System. After waking up one day with a tired, scratchy, and hoarse voice, Katarina decided to try some tea that was highly suggested by her friends who are speakers, singers, and teachers. That tea was the organic throat coat tea made by Traditional Medicinals. Organic throat coat tea is used for temporary relief of minor throat irritations. Katarina drank 6 cups of throat coat tea, and throughout the day, her voice gradually came back and got back to normal. This here is Yogi Throat Comfort Tea. This video is not sponsored. I just wanted to give you guys a visual because it's very similar to the tea that Katarina had. This is Throat Comfort. Traditional Medicinals makes Throat Coat. Both are caffeine free. Both are organic. Some of the ingredients are licorice root, wild cherry bark, bitter fennel fruit, marshmallow root, and slippery elm bark. These herbal medicinals have been used for centuries in Chinese, Greek, and Egyptian traditional medicine, helping with inflammation, immunity response, swelling, and cough and cold symptoms. Let's talk about a few of these ingredients. Slippery elm bark and marshmallow root are both what's called demulcents for sore throats. The bark produces slime when it comes into contact with water, and the slime acts as a mechanical barrier to protect the lining of the throat and soothe the underlying tissues. It coats the throat, hence the name Throat Coat or Throat Comfort with Yogi Tea. If you are nursing, pregnant, have kidney or liver problems, heart disease, or high blood pressure, these teas are not for you. Otherwise, if you are a speaker, make sure you are spilling the tea, coating that throat, and making sure you are taking care of those underlying tissues that are the main factors in your voice being healthy. Get you some throat coat tea or get you some throat comfort tea. That is this week's What That Mouth Do tip. Thank you all so much for listening. On next week's episode, we will talk about vocal variety and finding color in your voice. I'll be sharing ways to use different volumes and veracity and velocity of your voice to make your speech more exciting. Make sure you meet me right here, same time, same place, next week. You do not want to miss it. Be sure you like this video, share this video, comment, subscribe, and send me your WDMD tips for oral health and voice care. Follow me on Instagram at RamonaJSmith1. Visit my website, RamonaJSmith.com, to stay connected, and make sure you subscribe right now if you have not already. I would love to come speak at your organizations, your clubs, your groups, to your employees, to your team members. Just email me at ispeak@RamonaJSmith.com for booking information. As always, it has been a pleasure sharing this time with you. And until next time, let me help you find your voice so we can dream bigger, shine brighter, and speak louder. We will see you next week on the I Dream of Speaking podcast. Cool.